It's kind of a hell world with a lot of love between Sailor and Lula.
It was a complete partnership. It was a total team. They were going to be together forever.
David's a channel that's open, that is shaping and sculpting and molding as he goes along.
He was the personification of evil, as he calls himself, the Black Angel, Bobby Peru.
When those close-ups of the matches would come on, it would be like, you know, it was like an atomic bomb was dropping.
Those characters, Sailor and Lula, they were amazing characters, and it's a fairly violent, edgy movie, but I mean, that was what David was known for at the time.
It's a David Lynch film. You're going to see some strange things that are out of the ordinary, and you just have to go for the ride.
This whole world's wild at heart and weird on top.
I got a call from Monty Montgomery, who later went on to play the cowboy in Mulholland Drive. And Monty told me about a book called Wild at Heart that a guy, Barry Gifford, wrote.
What David appreciated in the novel was the fact that even though there was all this violence swirling around the characters of Sailor and Lula, there was this tenderness between them. It was a real love story. It was a Romeo and Juliet story, except they didn't have to die in the end.
Here you are crossing state lines with an A1 certified murderer.
Manslaughter, honey, not murder. Don't exaggerate.
It was an equals relationship. Sailor treated Lula as an equal, and Lula treated Sailor as an equal. And they had a special kind of relationship that I thought was very modern.
You really are dangerously cute, baby. I gotta admit it.
Within a period of a couple of months from the time that we gave him the book, he delivered a script, and the movie came together pretty quickly.
It was one of my favorite love stories I had ever read because it was full of David Lynch. It was full of David Lynch.
And the world was very crazy. A feeling that things were falling apart, were getting crazier by the day.
He saw Sailor and Lula a bit like Elvis in Marilyn Monroe, these very American icons.
Now this will be the signal,
Right.
and then one move, and that movie was over.
Elvis became a key to Nick. Nick is more than that, for sure, but that was a key element.
So I'll bring it up, and then...
That's it. Stop. Dead. Quiet. Everybody's gonna, stop dancing.
Okay.
And then the rest is up to you, ma'am.
Right.
Bubblegum was a key element to Lula for some reason. So there's Elvis and Bubblegum going down the road.
He saw the connections between Elvis and the Wizard of Oz and all those things in his story that they could go together and be part of this road trip.
I got a call from David, and David said, I have this role that I want you to do, sort of based on Glenda the Good Witch, and I want to hang you from a crane by piano wire about 60 feet above the ground. And my heart dropped, and of course I couldn't tell David no.
Somehow, the Wizard of Oz started walking into Wild at Heart.
Toto. The Wicked Witch.
Emerald City.
Yellow Brick Road.
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, Wild at Heart. It just came in.
Like music, David will throw in the dissonant note. He'll change, and he'll just go in a different direction, just to give the audience some relief.
I can't find it. Where is this damn thing?
It's gotta be in here somewhere. You can't just play the dark notes. You get tired of it.
I just like how the guy approaches movies. He's very rigorous, but at the same time, he has a very light, easy touch, and he's very playful.
Cut it. Okay, that's nice.
And David really was the one who kind of pointed out that it's very necessary, if you want to be creative, to have fun. And he kept that fun atmosphere on the set.
The only words we ever used in his direction of us were things like cotton candy, Jupiter, lemonade, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, more Marilyn, more sexy, more dumb.
The film follows three people. It follows Sailor, it follows Lula, and it follows Marietta. It's a road movie. You know, it's Crosby and Lamour and Bob Hope in hell.
Each person caught that something that brought it alive, and they dug deep and made it so real and beautiful. Nicolas Cage sort of had to play Sailor. When you think about it, it's, you know, built for him.
Nicolas was so great. You kind of just embodied that character.
I was really excited about the idea of playing somebody delinquent, somebody potentially dangerous, but could still be the romantic protagonist in a movie.
His love of music, his ability to be such a great singer, all of those things aided in David's obsession with this sailor fascination of Elvis and rock and roll and being the knight in shining armor to Lula.
Peanut! Hey, baby!
I'd worked with Laura Dern on Blue Velvet, and she's the best actress I've ever worked with. She's got tremendous talent. Tremendous.
He called saying, I think I want to do this thing, and I'm writing it, and you're going to be in it, and I want your mom to play your mom, and it was kind of like that. He just sort of called up and said we were going to do it.
She's a kind person, and the idea of this kind person in that situation, I thought, made her a deeply sympathetic character. Lula is somebody you care about.
And I think Nick and I fell in the category of wanting to do it for fun. And I think David sort of encouraged it and liked it, that for those 9 weeks, we just were Sailor and Lula.
Cut it. Okay, dear Lula. At the top of your stretch, I'm going to stretch for the both of us, baby. You take the stretch, you take a thing of it, and you go whack out and you say, so this is big tuna.
Nick Cage brought so much to that character, and when the two of them got together, you just had to feel for them. They were just so in love. I just couldn't take my eyes off them.
It's very intense, their love. And as David portrays in the film, there's a lot of hard lovemaking in that film, too. And when Lula says to him,
You mark me the deepest.
This is significant. I mean, they're very young people, but she's the wise one. She's the strong one. He can't help himself but from making mistakes.
I didn't have much parental guidance.
But he's a good guy, and he really loves Lula.
Bobby Peru, just like the country.
Bobby Peru is a legendary character.
I think that Willem Dafoe as Bobby Peru could not have been more perfect.
It's always interesting to see what people remember you for, what really sticks in their mind, and Bobby Peru is one of them that comes up over and over again.
I can't say enough good things about his performance and him as a person. Just look what Willem did. He's not struggling with something, he just knows it and just does it.
Where's that pretty little lady of yours today?
The character is a little bit funnier than what it was on the page. It's this kind of odd, quirky blend between funny and dangerous. You've got this guy, and he's so volatile, and you never know whether he's going to make you laugh or shoot you.
The teeth in the wardrobe were everything. I went into a room on the set, and there was a big old costume rack, and I think there were probably 3 pieces of clothing on it. Usually when you go to fitting, there's all this stuff. That was like, that's it. This is the costume. And I put it on, and I liked it. And a similar thing happened with the teeth. In the script, it says very clearly, he has rotten, stumpy teeth. And I remember David said on the phone, as we were doing kind of the niceties of, I'm glad you're going to do this, and he said, well, fella, we got to get your dentist appointment. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, the teeth, man, the teeth. It's open, and it's, you can't close your mouth with these things, and it's a little trigger that really makes you feel like a different person.
Those are dummies. Dummy.
You took the teeth out and he went away. But when those teeth were in, it was pretty good.
Man, I gotta take a piss, man. Can I use your head?
The famous, fuck me scene with Laura is alternately grotesque and sexual.
We took this odd moment in this, funky old motel room and transformed it from something that was one instant kind of humorous and then threatening and then sort of horrifically threatening, then turns around and backs right off and ends kind of where it began.
It's really kind of creeps you out. And that was a scene that David really created on the day. That scene really wasn't written that way. I mean, it was completely different on the page, and we went in, and it was really, we were like, David, what are you doing here?
She fucked me, and I leave.
No way, get out!
I'll tear your fucking heart out, girl!
There are some scenes that really have to maintain a kind of a beautiful critical balance to work. Really what it is, it relies on timeline. It was critical that they, you know, feel the moments all the way through that timeline. And they did.
He comes up and she's such a sort of sexual being. And then, you know, he grabs her and they get closer and closer and, you know, forces her to say things, and she maybe doesn't want to say it, but she's gotten caught up in kind of the seductive quality of this whole thing.
He's a snake, you know, he gets what he needs, and it's just the power of insistence and the power of him coming to someone and saying, hey, honey, come on, we're here, let's go, and walk that kind of grisly comic line.
I credit David with creating that moment because you can write that on the page, but to get the actors to those places where you can do that is not easy.
To David, that's a scene of female empowerment. Now, however else anyone takes it, I don't know. Doing the scene felt violating, scary, confusing. Willem Dafoe was funny and I didn't understand why, because I was playing Lula, you know, so I wasn't sure of any of it. She's just this sort of sexual energy that doesn't know what's right or wrong and hasn't thought through what's dangerous and what's safe. I mean, she doesn't even know her own mother is dangerous.
We shot a lot of takes of the very wide shot of the whole action because David knew that we were never going to cut in until that moment was right. So it was wonderful to be looking through the lens when it happened, because in those big, big close-ups when their two faces are right next to each other and you see Bobby Prue's ugly teeth, your skin just crawls. I mean, I could feel that looking through the camera.
My guess is he's memorable because he's like a force of nature in the respect that he's like pure expression of his desire. He's without apology. And even in his death, you get the sense that he's kind of like, okay, you know.
A local judge praised defendant John Roy, but was dismayed to learn that Roy had had sex with the corpse.
What? One of my favorite scenes in the movie, maybe my favorite scene in the movie probably, is us trying to find something on the radio.
For her recent divorce, shot and killed her 3 children, age 7, shot right between a heinous...
Lula can't believe what she's hearing. You know, that was going on in the world. So it was a good kind of truthful feeling.
I can't take no more of this radio. I never heard so much shit in all my life.
Nick and I both, I think, remembered that feeling of these kids just hearing horror after horror after horror and just wanting to escape.
Sailor Ripley, you get me some music on that radio this instant. I made it.
And I think that is the beauty, the majesty of David's idea of that movie.
And they put on this mad, crazy music. And they're dancing like crazy next to the road, and then the camera pans back and the music changes. And we hear Im Abendrot again by Richard Strauss. I think this was really disarming to the audience, to all of a sudden be confronted with this utterly beautiful piece of music. And it really evokes the real tenderness that they have for one another. This was a stroke of genius.
It was like a divine accident. We were in the middle of Texas and it was 110 degrees and the sun was coming down, and we found the place and pulled the car over, and it's one take, one shot, and we just went crazy and danced all, you know, into the night. And I'll never forget shooting that scene because it was the quintessential moment of the whole shoot for us.
I still have people who say to me all the time that Sailor and Lula really became for them a kind of a symbol of undying love. And that's a great compliment.